Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. Happy Freaky Friday to all you freaks out there. I hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money, and there's really no day for opportunity like Freaky Friday. We, of course, have our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. Every Friday, we go ahead and do this, guys, here on the channel, and we also do a giveaway every single Friday. Comment Freaky down below, and if this parlay hits, one lucky commenter will win a free $25 Amazon gift card. That's right. It's easy. It's simple. Just comment Freaky. If we cash, somebody else will be a lucky winner as well. Before we dive into today's Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay, we do have a quick little recap of how we did last night. And guys, if you've been watching the video so far this year, the victories have been few and far between. But last night, pretty solid night. Now, we did give out 4 player props. 2 of them did get voided. Chris Bryant and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did not end up playing, so those bets get voided out. We had Vinny Pasquantino under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. That did hit. And Jesus Luzardo, which was a very big sweat there. We also had the massive rain delay, under 2.5 earned runs. That did cash. So we're still going a little lighter on the units because of how bad we've been so far this year. I don't want to put full units on these plays, so we're still sticking with half a unit or 3/4 of a unit instead of a full unit. But again, we'll take the wins. 2-0 with our first performance this year where we actually won and didn't lose money. We are 10-19 on the season, though. Yeah, the record sucks, guys, but little by little, we're going to chip away and get back to the positive. We got a long season to go, so we got plenty of time to go ahead and turn that around. And one great way to go ahead and win some units back is, of course, our Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay. No more time to waste, guys. Let's go ahead and dive right into today's parlay. All right, guys, jumping right into the outlier screen, our first player prop, our first leg of today's parlay, comes from the Royals-Guardians game, 6:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals over half a hit. We're getting this one for -240 on FanDuel, -240 on DraftKings. Now, we are going to go ahead and use DraftKings because all 5 legs are available on DraftKings. 3 out of 5 are available on FanDuel, 3 out of 5 available on BetMGM, but DraftKings has all 5 legs available. So in this one, we're getting it for -240 over on DraftKings. The data is very solid across the board. This is, of course, an alternate line. And with alternate lines, the data is always going to be a little sweeter here. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. 80% hit rate, averaging 1.1 hits per game over his last 10 games. Looking at the overall data for this year, he's cashed it in 11 of 13 games. That's an 85% hit rate, averaging 1.08 hits per game so far this year. So some pretty good data overall this year for Bobby Witt Jr. And from a head-to-head perspective, we have a ton of head-to-head data to go off of here. 14 of his last 16 matchups with Cleveland, he's gone ahead and cashed the over. That is a whopping 88% hit rate, averaging 1.25 hits per game over the last 16 matchups with Cleveland. They have played already 3 times this year. He cashed the over in all 3 games this season. And looking down below at the key matchup stats, it's not the best match of all time in terms of batter versus pitcher. However, he has had some success, off of Tanner Bibby. 15 plate appearances since 2018 against Bibby. 4 hits, 308 batting average, 538 slugging percentage. So not bad numbers. Not great, but not bad either. Pretty decent sample size as well with 15 plate appearances against Bobby Witt Jr. last year. 332 batting average overall. Again, we're still too early in the year where Outlier does not have the updated 2025 numbers for these guys. We only have last year's data that we're still going off of, which is a little bit of a disadvantage, but also paints a pretty good picture, I think, overall, because Bobby Witt Jr., it's not like he's really decreased his game in comparison to last year. But he did have a lot of success versus right-handed pitchers last season. And you look at his BABIP, his WRC+, really good numbers. Tanner Bibby, however, was actually really solid versus right-handed batters last year. 190 batting average allowed, 233 BABIP. So some really good numbers there for Bibby when facing off with right-handed batters. That being said, Bobby Witt Jr. has a pretty decent history against him. He's one of the better hitters in Major League Baseball, so I think he transcends that matchup there. So I do like the spot here for the first leg of our 5-leg parlay. All right, guys, the second leg of our 5-leg parlay, we're moving on to the Giants-Yankees game. 7:05 p.m. first pitch. We got Jung-Hoo Lee of the San Francisco Giants over half a hit, -225 odds over on DraftKings. It is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. The numbers in this one also very solid. Again, alternate line, it's going to be very solid. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed this over a 90% hit rate, averaging 1.5 hits per game over his last 10 games. So far this season, an 82% hit rate, 9 out of 11 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 1.36 hits per game this year. We don't have any head-to-head data to go off of, but he did cash this at a 75% hit rate last year. Small sample size. He only played 36 games last year. I almost said 39 there. 36 games last season, but he did cash the over in 75% of those games, averaging 1.06 hits per game last year for the Giants. So pretty good data across the board. We also go down below here to the key matchup stats. Jung-Ho Lee, 262 batting average last year versus overall pitchers, all pitchers, right and left-handed. Versus right-handed pitchers specifically, though, a 277 batting average, 290 BABIP, and a 97.6 WRC+. So some nice increases in his numbers there when he faced off with right-handed pitchers. And Marcus Stroman got a really good matchup here. Now, overall, not the best season for him last year, but versus left-handed batters, it actually got worse. 296 batting average allowed, 323 BABIP. His ERA does go down. It's the only number that actually gets better versus left-handed batters, but his FIP also goes up. So it seems to be across the board a really solid matchup here for Jung-Ho Lee here against the Yankees. He's also been really solid on the road, as shown by this insight provided by Outlier. Jung-Ho Lee has exceeded half a hit in 10 of his last 11 games on the road, dating back to last season. He is so far 4 out of 5 games on the road this year. He's cashed the over. Only once, that first game there back against the Reds on March 27th, he failed to cash the over, but he's cashed the over in 4 straight road games since then. All right, guys, our third leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to the Phillies-Cardinals game. 8:15 p.m. first pitch. We're going Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies over 1.5 earned runs. Now, this one is not as juiced as the 2 previous player props I just showed you. This one is for -165 over on DraftKings. Just a little bit too rich to be a single bet. Again, we categorize a single bet as up to -150. I don't go any further than that. So -165, a little too rich to be a single bet in my opinion. You still could, I guess. But obviously a lower tier alternate line in terms of an odds standpoint. Now, the data is very solid despite the fact that it's not a crazy juiced alternate line. He's cashed the over in both games so far this year. He gave up 3 runs against the Dodgers in his last start on April 5th, almost a week ago. And then the first start against Washington, he had 5 earned runs back on March 30th. Now, overall last year, too, pretty high rate, 71% hit rate on this over, averaging 2.44 earned runs per game overall last year. And look at this from a head-to-head standpoint. He did face off with the Cardinals 2 times last season. He cashed the over both times. Now, he only gave up 2 runs in each of those 2 games, but nonetheless, those are cashes. This year so far, St. Louis has been one of the better scoring teams in Major League Baseball. You also have the insight provided by Outlier. By the way, guys, shout out to Outlier. All the data that you're seeing here on the screen, everything that you've been presented with in today's video thus far is brought to you by Outlier. We do offer an exclusive link down below in the description that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. It is the best sports betting tool on the market. I guarantee you guys that. It's fantastic, and it's going to go ahead and make you a better sports bettor. Yes, we've had a cold start to the year, but I'm telling you guys, when we start winning bets and we get this hot streak going, you guys are going to wish you had a tool like Outlier by your side. So check it out. Link down below, down in the description. But like I was saying, guys, the insight provided by Outlier, Aaron Nola has exceeded 1.5 earned runs in 7 of his last 8 games on the road, averaging 3.2 earned runs per game. So pretty good numbers here. And then the St. Louis batting versus right-handed pitchers. Overall last year, they were one of the better teams in Major League Baseball. Over the last 30 games, that includes this season's data as well, he's cashed the over not cashed the over. They're hitting the ball pretty well. They're cashing a lot of overs, that's for sure. But they're hitting the ball very well when facing off right-handed pitchers. And again, they are top 3 in Major League Baseball right now, thus far this year, in runs scored per game, averaging over 6 runs scored per game. So pretty good matchup here for us to go ahead and cash the over for Aaron Nola. All right, guys, our 4th leg of our 5-leg parlay. We're moving on to the Angels-Astros game. 8:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Jack Kachanowicz. I should know that. I have a lot of Polish friends. Kachanowicz. Over 2.5 strikeouts. This is a very juiced alternate line. -300 over on DraftKings. But the matchup data here seems to be pretty solid. Now, so far this year, he's cashed the over in both games. He had 4 strikeouts versus the Guardians, 4 strikeouts versus the White Sox thus far this year. Now, last year didn't cash this very much. Now, small sample size, he only pitched in 11 games last year, but he only averaged 2.27 strikeouts per game last year, only cashed this in 5 out of 11 games, so not the best numbers. However, narrowed down a little further, the last 5 games dating back to last year. 4 of his last 5 games, he's cashed the over, including both starts this season, averaging 3.6 strikeouts per game over his last 5 games. Now, looking down below at Houston versus right-handed pitchers, Houston last year, really good. They were the second least struck out team in Major League Baseball in terms of strikeout rate. However, last 30 games, which includes this year's data thus far, they are bottom 5 in Major League Baseball, and that is true. So far this year, the Astros, they are bottom 5 in Major League Baseball. They're one of the most struck out teams, striking out over 9 times per game as a team. So some pretty good numbers here and a pretty good spot for Kachanowicz to go ahead and cash a pretty small line. All he needs is 3 strikeouts, and he goes ahead and cashes the over. Look at the low line for a reason. It's an alternate line, but also this is not a guy who definitely deals in strikeouts all that much, but the matchup is just too sweet to go ahead and avoid. Again, Houston, one of the most struck out teams in Major League Baseball. So I think it's a pretty good spot. Minus 300, a little rich, honestly, but I just think that they're averaging over 9 strikeouts per game. Him to get 3 strikeouts should be, I don't want to say easy, but should be close to easy at least. And last but not least, guys, our 5th and final leg of today's parlay, Mr. Reliable himself. We got Tigers Twins, 8:10 p.m. first pitch. We got Spencer Torkelson of the Detroit Tigers over half a base, minus 185 over on DraftKings. He's been a fantastic hitter so far this year, although last year's numbers suggest he wasn't that much. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.1 total bases per game over his last 10. So far this year, an 83% hit rate on this over. 10 out of 12 games this year, he's recorded at the very least a single. He's recorded a hit in 10 out of 12 games, averaging 2.33 total bases per game this year. So some pretty good starts to the year for Spencer Torkelson. From a head-to-head standpoint, 5 of his last 7 matchups with the Minnesota Twins, he's cashed the over. This, of course, dates back to last season, but 5 of his last 7, he cashed the over, averaging 1.86 total bases per game. Not really going to look down below the key matchup stats too much because we don't really have much to go off of. We don't have the pitching data there. And again, we're going off of last year's numbers with Torkelson. He only batted .215 off of right-handed pitchers last year. But again, he's hit in 10 out of 12 games this year. His batting average is certainly not as low as .215. So going off of last year's numbers for Torkelson, I've done it already a couple times this year. It hasn't worked out for me when I bet the under on him. He's just been a great hitter so far this year. Really solid start for him. So I'm going to go ahead and tail him here and add him to our 5-leg Freaky Friday 5-leg parlay as the final leg of our Freaky Friday parlay. All right, guys, so a quick little recap of all 5 legs. We have Jack Kachanowicz of the LA Angels over 2.5 strikeouts. We got Aaron Nola of the Philadelphia Phillies over 1.5 earned runs. Jung-Hoo Lee of the San Francisco Giants over half a hit against the Yanks. Spencer Torkelson of the Detroit Tigers over half a base. And we have Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals over half a hit. You parlay all 5 together over on DraftKings to get a parlay of plus 575 odds. Really solid value there. And guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video. But until then, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Freaky Friday. Have some freaky fun. And let's go ahead and make some money.